Please, can you see it?
Yes, Prof, we can see it.
Yes,
You can see it, Prof?
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much for the invitation to talk this conference. So I want to share my thoughts with you on climate action from research to practice. So as indicated, I'm Raymond Aabeyir. Yes, so, and then it will be brief and take this outline, climate action, research, practice, and then a summary. Yes, so I will want to trace climate action back to the first climate conference that was held in Geneva in 1979, which was to respond to observed climatic events. Since then, a lot has happened in terms of climate action, and paramount among them is the Paris Agreement, which seeks to strengthen the global response to climate change impact by holding the increase in global average temperature below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, and then also pursuing efforts to limit the temperature rise to about 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels by 2030. The question we should ask here is, are these really achievable? So we go on to see the UN is of the view that if we have to actually achieve this, then there will be the need to actually make sure that we cut down our annual emissions to about 43 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalent for the 2 degrees Celsius path that we want to take, and then about 34 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalent for the 1.5 degrees Celsius path that we want to take. So if you look at these and then the previous point, you will see that we indeed have a lot to do. But let us see where we are and then where we are heading to. So if you look at this diagram, it is indicated that back in 2017, we hit the 1 degree Celsius through human-induced warming. And now, if we continue business as usual, we should be hitting the 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2040. So if you look at this, what it means is that we really have a lot of tasks to do if we want to maintain or if we want to achieve the Paris Agreement or COP21. Yes, so if we have already hit 1 degree Celsius 3 or 5 years ago, what it means is that we just have about 6 years to make sure that we do a lot to combat climate change. Now, unfortunately, if you look at the NDCs that were submitted to COP26 in November, it doesn't look like we are on course. So if you look at this diagram, the red line there is what the policies that we have implemented, the actions that we are taking will lead us to, as against the paths that we want to take down there. If you look at the blue and then the green lines, the green line is the 2 degrees Celsius path that we want to take, and then
sorry,
the blue
Prof.
line
Excuse me.
Hello?
Hello,
Yes.
hello, Prof. Can you hear me?
Yes.
It seems like your slides are not moving. Your slides are not moving. Could you kindly try to share again so we can follow the presentation?
All right.
Yes, thank you.
That's fine. Let me share again. Please, are they moving now?
Yes, we can see the figure that you were talking about, but it is not on slideshow.
It's not on slideshow. Wow.
Yes, is it possible to put it on slideshow?
That's what I did, and then I was just scrolling to ensure that you are able to see it, but can see. Let me see.
From my side, I can see.
All right.
You can see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see you
So
move on the next slide, sir.
Okay, so I think let me just try. Is it fine now?
Yeah, for my side, it's fine.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
sir,
so let's.
You can go ahead.
Yeah. So this is what I was talking about. If you look at the policies that we have implemented so far, and then the path that we want to achieve with these policies, there is a gap. So we are envisaging that by 2030, at least this is where we should be. And the gap between the path that we want and then the path that we are now is so wide. And then if we indeed want to close that gap, we have a lot to do. And as it is, we should be aware that we really have a very narrow path toward actually minimizing the climate catastrophes that we are trying to avoid. So if you look at this, at least the advocacy for action to adapt and then mitigate the current and future climate change impact is well advertised through the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly Goal 13, the RED+, the RED, and then the AFLU, and research. Research in particular guides the choice of action and then the direction that we will want to take. And it is very important in the actions that we take. So if you look at this, a lot of research has gone into climate change, and you see the various areas that have been researched on. This is between 2015 and then 2020. So if you go back, it means you can see a lot. So that doesn't mean that everything is well or covered by the research that we have done. We will see, if you look at the diagram carefully, that mitigation technologies are not really researched into, and then geoengineering technologies are also outstanding, and then particularly climate entrepreneurship. I think the previous speaker said a lot about that. And if you look at all the areas of research, that is missing. But I'm happy that it is coming up these days, and particularly for the young ones to take advantage of, and then for academia to also look into it in terms of research. The potentials there are high, and we should focus more on that. So some may say that, look, in terms of research, the climate change is over-researched, climate mitigation is over-researched, carbon sequestration is over-researched. So if that is the case, let's move into these areas and see whether we will have the solutions that we want for climate change. So with all these things, we would expect that at least we should see visible decline in emissions with increasing mitigation activities, particularly at the local levels, and possibly drop in global climate average temperatures. But that is not the case.
Well,
Yes,
Prof.
so,
Hello.
yes.
I think your
Hello?
slides are still not moving, and we're still stuck on slide number 4.
Wow, I don't know why this is the case. But is this so with everyone?
Can you go on where it says slideshow and you?
Please, is it okay now?
You're on slide number 8 now.
Yes. So let me share again and then see if you'll be able to follow. I'm sorry about that, but sometimes that's a problem with technology. Please, can you see that?
Yes.
Can
Yes,
you
we
see
can.
this? Yes, so what I said is with all the actions that we have taken, the research that we have done to actually guide climate actions, one will expect that at least there should be visible decline in carbon dioxide equivalent emission with increasing mitigation activities at the local level in particular, and then a drop in the global average temperature. But that is not the situation. Now, why are we where we are if we are not actually where we want to be? So I think I will leave this with the young ones to actually reflect on and get this paradox, and then the tragedy of the horizon may offer some explanations. So from what Gideon said is that if there is a lack of tangible and then immediate dangers from a threatening phenomenon such as climate change, most people will do little to respond. Consequently, by the time the dangers hit us, then it would be too late. So what it means is that we actually need to make sure that we see the tangibles, we see the threatening effects. We see them, but why are we actually not taking the action? So from here, the issue is that if we don't take action from the previous slides, we may think that it is too late at the time that we want to actually take action to address this. We have done a lot. The question now is about what? Intensification of the actions that we are taking or we have taken. Yes, if we want to still go by the way we do things, it will not help us, and we may be haunted by this paradox. The next one is the tragedy of the horizon. Human as we are always deeply embedded in human tendency to discount both the costs and then benefits of distant events. Many of us think that climate change is far away from us. It is here with us, and then we are feeling it. So let us take the benefits. Let us take the cost in the form of what? Actions. If we are able to do that, I think we can really make headway. And this particular tragedy is linked to the climate entrepreneurship that we are talking about. So let us see the cost, let us see the benefits, and then make the profit out of climate change. The negatives are there, but the positives are also there. It is up to us to make the balance. So now, why are we where we are? Some of the actions that we take are not sustainable. If you look at these pictures, these actions are not sustainable in any way. We are cutting trees, we are producing charcoal, and we are not planting, or if we are planting, we are doing little. The rate at which we are harvesting the trees, I think far exceeds the rate at which we are planting. Also, if you look at the conventional climate and actions that we talked about or we have taken in terms of adaptation and mitigation, there's little consideration of climate entrepreneurship in it. And if we fail to add this, yes, people will still run away from the business that is in climate change. And until we utilize that, we will not make any headway. People have the resources, they will need to invest in climate change, but they want to be sure that at least it will bring us to the promised land that we want to see. So in summary, I will want to say that a lot of actions have taken place in terms of climate action, from research to practice. And then now we are making efforts to incorporate entrepreneurship, and we are not near the promised land. More still needs to be done. I will also leave you with Fauzi et al. Statement. Is like a disparate one, but that is where we need to look at. There is no ultimate solution to climate change, and that all technologies and techniques, if technically and economically viable, should be deployed. Yes, so we indicated that a lot has not gone into the climate action technologies. We need to look at that. The climate entrepreneurship, we actually need to look at that. So what we have done so far, we need to go beyond those ones and then ensure that we do the right thing. Now, last but not least, I think everyone must get involved in positive climate action now. It's not all the actions that are positive. The previous slides tells you that, look, some of the actions that we are taking are not helping us. The choice of the climate we want tomorrow is based on the climate actions that we take today. If we take positive climate actions, at least we are sure that it may take us to where we want. If we depend on the negative ones, it may not help us because of the negative feedback that it has on climate change itself. So I will want to thank you, and this is how the climate change is. Yes, some are saying by the grace of God, they are able to make their livelihood. Others are also shouting the God of Israel, because this will not help us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. We really appreciate. So at this